Hello, everyone. Jason Haas here for the Wednesday Instagram live broadcast from Tablas Creek. Hope you are all doing well. I have a really cool guest this week. It is Kim Murphy-Rodrigues, who is the executive director of the Rhone Rangers, and somebody who's just been doing cool stuff in the world of wine in Paso Robles for a couple decades. And I'm excited to talk to her about her journey and about, of course, the work she's doing with Rhone Rangers, on whose board of directors I've served for more than a decade. And of course, the event that we have coming up. We have the first in-person Rhone Rangers event in 2 years coming up weekend after next. So I'm looking forward to talking to Kim about all that. But before I invite her to join, as I usually do, while we're waiting for everybody to sign on, I wanted to show you a few pictures of what we have going on, what things are like out here at the winery. So it is basically sunny and beautiful and dry, blue skies, frosty nights. This is normal for interludes in the winter in Paso Robles, but it has been basically like that since the beginning of January. So we're working on like 6 weeks of dry, sunny weather. We would love it to rain some more. It does not look like there's anything in even the medium term forecast, but I have been seeing some long-term projections that suggest it's going to get wet again in March. But this is supposed to be the rainiest couple of months of the year in January and February. So it's lovely and beautiful. We're thrilled with the landscape that we have. The cover crops love it. It's growing, but we're really hoping this is not the end of the rainy season. Just to give you a sense of the cover crops, I mean, this is cover crop that has been growing where we have not yet grazed our sheep, about waist high at this point, and still growing fast. Speaking of the sheep, we've got them in full evidence. They're out there. We've moved them now through all of the blocks of the vineyard twice, with the exception of a few ones like the one I just showed you where we're keeping them out for one reason or another. But they've gone through the whole vineyard twice. They're on third rotation now, which is great. That's exactly what you hope is going to happen. With the winter, you get enough rain early that the grass starts growing. We can get the sheep out there and then run them through multiple times. That's about it in the vineyard. Not a whole lot of story to tell out in the vineyard. In the winery, we're taking advantage of the nice weather, getting some of the barrels that haven't quite finished fermentation out into the sun, warming them up a little bit during the day, and then bringing them back inside at night. We're about 6 weeks away from beginning our blending trials on the whites, and then another month after that we'll start with the reds. But it's nice when we have the warm weather to give them a little boost that way. And we're getting ready we've bottled 3 wines. We've bottled the Patelin de Tablas Rosé, the Dianthus Rosé, and our Vermentino. And we are getting ready to bottle 4 more at the end of this month. So Grenache in this foudre is one of them. Also Sanso, Counoise, and Côte de Tablas Red. So if you have been looking at our website and seeing things sold out, help us on the way. And then finally, kind of our big announcement is that earlier this week we announced that we were doing a trial of Patelin Rosé in bag-in-box, which offers a ton of potential for reducing the carbon footprint of packaging versus glass, because glass is heavy and it requires high temperatures to melt and to mold, and then heavy to ship around. And the carbon footprint of something like this bag-in-box is 84% less than the equivalent in glass bottles. So we're doing a little trial. We announced it earlier this week, and the response that we've gotten has just been overwhelming. So we'll send that out by email. The release of it on Tuesday of next week is the current plan. So anyway, if you haven't seen this, check out this week's blog. It lays out the case that the bag-in-box has been overlooked for the wrong reasons. It's basically been thought of as being cheap wine because cheap wine has only ever been in there. But it offers a lot of advantages beyond just the carbon footprint. Okay, that's it. I'm going to stop sharing pictures. I am going to... out there, I just accepted her request, so hopefully we will see her momentarily. Hey, there she is. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Good afternoon. Actually, rosé sounds great for an afternoon like today, right? It's rosé.
I mean, rosé season is kind of year round in February. In California anyway. But this weather doesn't feel like doesn't feel like winter even in California.
Exactly.
Cool, excellent. So I gave people a really quick introduction into to you, and some of the reasons why I was excited to talk to you um, at the very beginning, before as people were just joining. But I always like to start by asking people to sort of share their journey into wine. Was wine something that you had around, that was on your family table when you were growing up, or was it something you came to? And if so, what did that journey look like?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, basically, when I was going to Cal Poly, some of the wineries were being built here in Paso Robles. And I was studying ag business and decided to transfer to Fresno State because there was a particular stock market class that I wanted to take because I wanted to be a stockbroker. That was my big thing heading to Chicago. And lo and behold, when I was there, I took a wine tasting course through the enology department. And that just kind of sparked my interest in the wine industry. And at the same time, recalling every time I'd come over here to the Central Coast, all the wineries that were being built. So I was fortunate enough right out of college to land my first position with Chalone Wine Group at their flagship property up near the Pinnacles in Soledad. And, the rest is history. Just kind of journeyed from there. Later joined Ken Volk at Wild Horse. And it was there that I actually became familiar with the Rhone Rangers. It was a fairly new organization at that point, and continued to just grow my interest when I moved on to Robert Hall Winery, where I was at for over a decade as the director of marketing there. Got active in the Rhone Rangers, and I've been volunteering ever since.
So cool. Yeah, because I think you were a Wild Horse when we first connected, when I moved out here.
Hmm.
And it feels like if you were to draw the family tree of where people in the Central Coast kind of moved through and moved on from, I feel like Ken and Wild Horse would be one of the kind of main roots. There's so many people who did great stuff there and then moved on to do really cool stuff elsewhere,
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of the alumni there.
including Neil, our winemaker.
Yeah,
That was where he got his start.
perfect.
Um, so let's talk about Rhone Rangers. Let's talk about sort of what the Rhone Rangers does for people who don't know. If people ask you sort of what the Rhone Rangers is all about, how do you explain it?
Sure. Well, the Rhone Rangers is an organization that really focuses on the education of the varietals. And through that, we do educational, right now we're doing virtual events as well as the in-person events. In Paso Robles a few years ago, we had a very popular series of varietal nights, and that allowed us to rotate on a monthly basis, focusing on a varietal at a different winery venue. And it was just a short tasting, only an hour and a half, 2 hour evening event on a weeknight. But it allowed that interaction between the producers and the consumer audience, as well as members of the trade. So I think we find ourselves to be a very approachable, small grassroots organization that really does that outreach and firsthand experience, with the winemakers and vintners themselves to engage with the consumer.
It's always been one of the things that I thought has been really cool about the Rhone Rangers is that, like, you go to a Rhone Rangers tasting, you see kind of the legends of the movement there. Like, you'll see Bob Lindquist behind a table. You'll see Randall Graham on a panel. You'll see Bill Easton there talking his work. And I feel like that's one of the things that makes the Rhone movement kind of cool and unusual and different from uh, a lot of the other maybe older movements or other movements where you don't any longer have those pioneers still there and active and involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely an organization that especially those early founders, like you just mentioned, Randall Graham and Bob Lindquist, it means a lot to them. We just had a board meeting yesterday, and we have a new board member, Hillary Klein from Klein Family Cellars. And, just for her to continue the family legacy of being involved in the organization, it's something that, everyone really holds very near and dear to them, is helping educate and just promote Rhone wines.
And where's the membership of Rhone Rangers, the winery membership from? I mean, it's not all California.
No, absolutely not. So we have members back in Michigan, Virginia, Oregon, as well as some new members from Texas. We have had members from Arizona. Of course, with Paso Robles being such a prominent area for the growth of Rhone wines, we have a pretty large percentage of members here from Paso, but also from Santa Barbara County and Monterey County. The North Coast is not to go, untalked about because they certainly have a strong influence as well from Napa and Sonoma, and as well as over in Lodi. So this event is what is so fun about it is we will have representatives from all those areas at this event on February 20th.
Yeah, so let's talk about the event. So it's coming up. It's the Sunday of President's Day weekend. So whatever, like 10 days from now,
Yeah.
which is kind of terrifying. Ah! But so that there's three parts to it, right? There's a seminar and then a lunch and then the grand tasting. Do you wanna take people through sort of how the day's gonna run?
Yeah, absolutely. The seminar features 9 different producers, all focusing on a varietal, and it's really nice because we have everything from, the Viognier to obscure white and obscure red, the blends, Syrah, Grenache. What did I miss there? Morved, and a rosé. So, it's 9 different vintners discussing their wines for the seminar audience.
And I'm,
And
I'm one of those. I'll be up on that panel
abs
talking about white Rhone blends. I think we're showing our Côte Tablas Blanc.
Absolutely. And our guest moderator this year, we're really excited about is Stacy Briscoe from Wine Industry Advisors. So that'll be, a great event for everyone, again, to kind of have that firsthand experience and hearing directly from the source of the producers themselves. After that seminar, we have a vintner's luncheon catered by Chef Jeff Scott. So it's going to be phenomenal. And again, if we have a day like today where the weather's just amazing, and definitely rosé is going to be a favorite wine for that luncheon. So that'll be held outdoors in Frontier, we call it Frontier Town at the California Mid-State Fairgrounds, also known as the Paso Robles Event Center. So that'll be followed by an early access for those who are attending the seminar and luncheon. They'll be able to get early admission into the grand tasting, where we'll have over 200 wines from 50 plus producers. I'm still having wineries register even today to participate in the tasting. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see all the different wineries representing membership throughout the US.
Yeah, it's cool. The if people have not been to this event before, it's followed a pretty consistent format for, well, this is the 14th year, I think.
Yes.
Supposed to be year 15, but of course 2021, COVID threw a wrench into those works like it did in so many other things. But the idea behind that seminar has always been kind of give people a baseline, give people a starting point for what the major categories are of California Rhones, and then the rest of the day is the chance for them to explore the things that they loved. The venue has changed. The venue changes periodically. This is the second time we've done it at the event center. And then we have a different moderator every year. And I think I had Stacy on as my guest for one of these Instagram live conversations sometime middle of last year, I think, late last year. She's so dynamic and fun and vibrant and lively. I think she's going to be great.
Fantastic. Well, and as you mentioned, this is our 14th event. I mean, back when we first started this, it's actually when Jason and I really got to know each other when I was at Robert Hall. There was this idea of let's do this event. And, we had no idea that first year what to expect. And, the rest is history. And, we have guests coming in from all over the US to attend the event, which is pretty exciting. They plan their vacations and trips to Paso Robles wine country based on this event. So, we were fortunate enough in 2020 to have to hold the event. And I think even as we were preparing for it, we were talking about how this strange thing, COVID, that was hitting Europe. What's going on? Why are they shutting down there? Little did we know it would be, I think 3.5 weeks later, it would hit us. But we were pretty fortunate in 2020 to get that event in before all the madness started.
Yeah, it really was the last event that we did. That for a lot of it, not just us as Rhone Rangers, but for us as Tablas Creek, it was the last event that we did until, the next one that we did was a year and a half after that. when we went to Aspen last fall. But that was a long stretch.
Exactly, exactly. So we're pretty excited to just bring it back and allow everyone to get out and have some fun and explore some new wines and make some new discoveries.
Cool. So when you think about the American Rhone movement, like what are some trends that you think people should pay attention to, or that you think are kind of interesting and fun?
Yeah, well, I believe everyone is really getting, used to just discovering some new obscure whites, and we're certainly going to have those at the event. Anything from Picpoul Blanc to Claret Blanc, Marsanne Roussanne blends, just really exquisite wines that they can discover and just find some new interest in. So it's something off the beaten path. It's something for everyone.
I love that there's so much to explore just within the world of Rhones. I know, I mean, here at Tablas Creek, we have 16 different Rhone varieties in the ground, and we're getting to explore things like Picpoul and Claret and Picardin, and a lot of these. I think people sometimes think of Rhone whites as being kind of rich and dense. I mean, that's sort of the Viognier. They're very like Viogniers are very fruity and very lush. Tend to be pretty low in acid. Or maybe they're thinking of Roussanne and Marsanne that are kind of textured and rich, and don't realize that there's all of these high acid white Rhone varieties too. The like the ones that you mentioned, Picpoul and Claret, are great examples. I feel like those are maybe the next things that are going to be discovered in a big way in the world of American Rhones.
Absolutely. I think just having this opportunity with all these wineries in one setting where you can just do a sampling. Something new this year we're going to do in our program as well as have the wines listed not only by winery, but then section it out by varietal or blend. So if
Uh-huh.
you are, looking for that perfect obscure white, you can find it and then go around and sample all of them in one shot. So.
Cool, awesome. Okay, so more broadly, more outside of Rhone Rangers specifically, talk a little bit about some of the other things that you are involved in the world of wine, because it's not all Rhone Rangers for you all the time.
Right, right. So I also have my own small brand, Vigo Cellars, and that basically came about as a passion project for my husband and I. He's a viticulturist and also a professor at Cal Poly in the Department of Wine and Vit. Just, to be able to tap into some resources we had with different growers and have these wines that we could make ourselves. And, I have to admit, when we first started it, we thought our daughters would carry it on, but since then they decided to do their own thing, darn it. So, we're continuing on that. So we have, the viticulture aspect, the winery, and then in addition, I also am a territory manager for MA Silva. So corks and glass. So I cover territory from Monterey County down to Temecula and a little bit into Arizona as well.
Has
So
that has that been hard with the supply chain issues that a lot of people
uh,
are facing, or is that a phrase? The supply chain issue is a phrase
what
that you hope you never hear again.
I thought I was going to go a minute without saying supply chain, Jason. It certainly has been an issue, supply chain on the glass side. Cork, not at all. Cork, we're great with, but certainly the supply chain issues with glass right now are kind of hitting everyone, both domestic as well as imports. So it's something that we're working through, and I think that we have some creative alternative routes to market just to help the wineries be successful and have ware that they can use for bottling.
Yeah, I know we've just realized we have to do things way longer in advance, that we have to have things here, like the old days where like we would arrange for all of the glass to be here the week before we bottle. Like
Yeah.
that's just not a good idea anymore. So luckily we have the storage space to handle having our glass delivered a month or two early. But we've been relatively fortunate. I'm hearing people who've had much bigger issues than we have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and even we could take it to the glasses, even for our event. I mean, we were able to take possession of those back in November just to ensure we had our wine glasses to be on the safe side.
Right. Otherwise, like you're going out with like your
Yeah,
hands cupped in front of the winemaker. It's like, please. Um,
exactly.
cool. Um, so you talked a little bit about some of the things that you're excited about in the Rhone, kind of the white Rhones. How about reds? Are there anything on the red side that you think is kind of cool and new?
Yeah, well, Thatcher Winery is going to be pouring their Senso, which is going to be just amazing to have that represented. I think that just the opportunity to have some of the straight varietals, and I'm sure Tablas Creek will have some as well, where it's not so common if you're out in a wine shop or a market and you're wanting to explore these, maybe you're a little more pensive about picking up that bottle, but this is a great opportunity to give it a try and discover some new taste.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I often hear people say when they're talking about the Rhone movement is that like it's hard to find examples in retail. Like, or there are a handful of Rhone Rangers wines in retail distributed around the country, but there's a lot of them that are made in small amounts, are sold just direct from the winery. Um, and it feels like this sort of event is the event where people who are interested in those sorts of things can come and actually find them, because it's not like you don't have to be making enough of them to satisfy distributors in 14 states and then to have them go to the retailers and get it on the shelf. It's the chance to taste things like that Thatcher Senso, which is just delicious.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you also have producers like Jaffers will be in our seminar with the Syrah. They make, I believe, 7 different Syrahs from the Central Coast. So it's going to be, an exciting, again, opportunity to get out there and try them and just taste all the different intriguing nuances between those different Syrahs that that particular producer has.
Yeah, and I mean I think Syrah sometimes gets overlooked because like people feel like they know it, but I don't think they actually do. I mean, with the diversity of Syrahs that are available in that room. I mean, not just in terms of region, though clearly in terms of region, but also just in terms of style, from much more kind of cool climate, low alcohol, very savory, to these luscious, juicy blueberry and licorice. I mean, there's all different sorts of Syrah reflections, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to tasting when I'm walking around that room.
Yeah, absolutely. That we're going to have obviously quite a few red blends there as well. So just to even explore that a little bit, where a typical GSM or maybe it's an MSG, or just to see what each winemaker for their particular palate and interest what they've created. It's a
Yeah,
great
we
opportunity.
make an MSG, but we don't really call it that because it's got connotations.
Exactly.
Cool. Awesome. So if people want to know more, learn more about this event, what is the best way that they could do that? Research, buy tickets, all of that.
Sure, absolutely. Just go to rhonerangers.org, and right on the homepage there, there's a button you can click that will take you to a page which has more information on all the different producers that will be at the event, the seminar panelists, and the ticket link where you can purchase tickets for the all access, which is the all day pass. Or if you just want to do the grand tasting, you're welcome to purchase a ticket for that as well.
And we forgot to talk about there's a silent auction too, right?
Yes.
That's happening during the grand tasting.
Yes, we do have a silent auction, and all the wineries have donated lots, everything from special edition bottlings. Bob Blomquist actually has a 5 liter that he has donated for the event. We have a couple of case lots, as well as individual rare and reserve library editions, and some lifestyle packages as well, which would include anything from tastings and lunches at wineries to overnight stays at different winery accommodations.
Super cool. I think we're doing a magnum, like a trio of magnums plus a behind the scenes tour out here, which is always fun to do.
Fantastic. And those proceeds primarily benefit the educational efforts of the Rhone Rangers. We've been fairly active in donating scholarships to everyone from Cal Poly, as well as Allen Hancock College, Sonoma State. So it definitely goes to a good cause.
Cool. So in terms of like the future for Rhone Rangers, are there things that you would like the organization to do? Things that you're looking towards for next year and beyond?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll continue to highlight our events that we have here in Paso Robles. We have an International Grenache Day event planned for September, as well as more regional focus on doing tastings, whether it be here on the Central Coast or in Oregon, and just continuing to partner with other organizations like American Wine Society, where we can go into a forum and have seminars and just continue to educate and get the awareness out on these American Rhone varietals.
Cool. And I know in past years, like whatever, pre-COVID, 2019 and earlier, we went on the road and did some road shows too. Are there any plans for those coming back?
Yeah, we're hopeful in 2023 we can explore perhaps getting out into Texas or even on the East Coast doing some select market visits where we can hopefully garner some of our members that we might have in those states, like say Texas Hill Country, and do an event where we can welcome wineries from throughout the U.S. to join in.
Because I remember when we did that, the last one that we did in DC, there were a bunch of Virginia wineries who came and were a part of it, which was like, that was super fun because we don't see those wines out here in California very often.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, at our last Rhone Rangers experience, we did have some Virginia representation, and I think,
Right.
certainly Shannon Horton loved getting out to California in February, away from Virginia. But we definitely want to continue to do the road shows and just get out to try to reach as many people as we can and introduce the Rhone varietals to them.
Awesome. Cool. Finally, one last thing. So if people want to learn more about Vigo Cellars, how would they do that?
Yeah, despiegelcellars.com. Small winery. We have a couple of whites that we're doing. Again, all Rhone focused. So please visit vigocellars.com.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kim. This has been Kim Murphy Rodrigues, Executive Director of Rhone Rangers, joining me for this talk. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the event in 10 days. I'm just excited to see everybody. It feels like we've been seeing people on the other side of screens for so long that it's going to feel all that much more special to be there in person.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely in high gear getting ready for the event and look forward to seeing everyone as well.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking a little time out of your Wednesday to join me. If you are joining me for the first time, we do these every 2 weeks on the Tablas Creek Instagram live feed. My guest 2 weeks from today will be Jim Gordon, editor at Wine Enthusiast and longtime writer in and around the world of California wine. So again, I hope to see you all in 2 weeks. Kim, I will see you well before then. And everybody, I hope to see you at a Rhone Rangers event soon.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kim. Bye, everybody.